Hello students, myself Professor P.B. Sargade and we are studying the topic human health and diseases. And today we will discuss about the next disease is AIDS. AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is a usually fatal illness caused by a retrovirus. It is called as ssRNA, known as the human immunodeficiency virus or HIV, which weakens the body's immune system, leaving the victim leaving the victim vulnerable to life-threatening opportunistic infections, neurological disorders, and unusual malignancies. AIDS can be called a modern pandemic, which is worldwide, affecting both industrialized and developing countries around the world. The AIDS was first noticed in USA in 1981. In India, first confirmed case of AIDS was in April 1986 from Tamil Nadu. Now we will see the structure of HIV. You are able to observe the diagram in front of you now. What is the structure of HIV? HIV is 100 to 140 nanometer in diameter. It is spherical. Virus particle shows centrally located two ssRNA molecules along with reverse transcriptase enzymes. It is covered by two layers of proteins. The outer layer is of matrix protein P17, while in inner layer is capsid protein P24. Over the matrix protein layers, there is an additional layer of lipids impregnated with glycoprotein GP120 and GP41. You may see the diagram to all these labels. The virus replicates in actively dividing T4 lymphocytes and can remain in a latent stage, or it is called as stage in the lymphoid cells. The virus has unique ability to destroy human T4 lymphocytes. HIV is found in greater concentration in blood, semen and cerebrospinal fluid. We also called it as CSF. It means blood, semen and cerebrospinal fluid. And no and to lesser extent in tears, milk, urine, saliva, cervical and vaginal secretions. Now this was about the structure of HIV. The next point is the virus can be transmitted through the first mode of transmission is unsafe sexual contact, including oral, vaginal, and anal sex. The second is blood via blood transfusions or needle sharing. And third, from mother to child. It is transplacental. A pregnant woman can transmit the virus to her fetus through their shared blood circulation, or a nursing mother can transmit it to her baby from her breast milk. Other methods of spreading the virus are rare and include accidental needle injury, artificial insemination with infected donated semen, and transplantation with infected organs. AIDS virus has been found in urine, tears, saliva, breast milk, and vaginal secretions, but it seems not to be transmitted by these fluids unless it gets into injuries. The next point is clinical manifestations. The clinical manifestations, that means the symptoms of AIDS, have been classified into four broad categories. Now, which are those categories? The first category is initial infection. The initial infection with the virus and formation of antibodies usually takes 2 to 8 weeks after initial infection. Now, the second is asymptomatic carrier state, in which no signs of disease are seen. Incubation period ranges from 6 months to 10 years in this asymptomatic carrier state. The third clinical manifestation or symptom is AIDS related complex, or it is also termed as ARC, with one or more of the following clinical signs: recurrent fever for longer than 1 month, fatigue, unexplained diarrhea, night sweats, shortness of breath, loss of more than 10% body weight, etc. And the fourth clinical manifestation is AIDS is the end stage of HIV infection, and it is characterized by life threatening opportunistic infections like pneumonia, tuberculosis, Kaposi sarcoma, etc. Now, these were the clinical manifestations of the HIV or AIDS. The next point is preventive measures of the AIDS. AIDS has no cure, hence, prevention is the best choice. We always talk about one thing, that prevention is better than cure. The following steps help in preventing this dreadful disease. Which are those steps? First, people, particularly those in high risk group, should be educated about HIV transmission. Second, disposable needles and syringes should be used and disposed of properly and immediately. Third, sexual habits should be changed immediately. Fourth, high risk groups should refrain from donating the blood. Next, fifth, toothbrushes, razors, other articles that can become contaminated with blood should not be shared. Next is, before receiving the blood, ensure that it has been screened for not containing HIV infections. And now this is a standard procedure in all blood banks, that you have to check the blood for HIV and other diseases. The next is, routine screening must be done for blood donors, then organ donors such as kidney donors, liver, lung, and cornea donors. Donors of semen and growth hormone should be also screened. The patients undergoing hemodialysis and females in high risk group who are pregnant or contemplating pregnancy. Now, the next point in this is laboratory diagnosis of AIDS or HIV. At first, a test is used to detect the HIV antibodies, while a second confirmatory test is used to weed out any false positive results. Now, these are done in laboratories. The first test is called as ELISA. You may have heard the test ELISA. It is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay or ELISA. The confirmatory test usually is a Western blot. It is a highly specific test. It is based on detecting specific antibody to viral core protein and envelope glycoprotein. Now, the last point in AIDS, treatment of AIDS. Although AIDS has no cure, but certain medicines called as antiretroviral drugs can help in reducing the viral load and prolong the life of HIV patient. We can prolong the life of HIV patient here. Examples of these drugs used in antiretroviral therapy or ART are TDF, tenofovir, EFV, efavirenz, lamivudine, or 3TC, etc. The advancements made in biological sciences have helped us to deal effectively with many infectious diseases. The use of vaccines and immunization programs have enabled us to eradicate completely the dreadful diseases like smallpox. Now, when we talk about the diseases and they are affecting the human populations, and they play an important role when they cause a very severe effect on the population. A large number of other infectious diseases like polio, diphtheria, pneumonia, and tetanus have been controlled to a large extent by the use of vaccines. Now, this is a big achievement of our nation. The biotechnology is on the verge of making available newer and safer vaccines, and discovery of antibiotics and various drugs has also enabled us to treat effectively infectious diseases like tuberculosis.